What's up, guys, and welcome back to another Real Madrid video. I was gonna say Real Madrid preview. We're not quite there yet. We are about a couple of weeks away from the Xabi Alonso era. Um, so we will have to wait a little longer for that. But as we await the new change, the new era, the new beginning, I feel like it is important that we appreciate what has happened in the past few years. We appreciate, what some legends have done for this club that are going to be leaving. And despite a horror season, it hasn't been great. Real Madrid haven't won any significantly major trophy, and we haven't gone trophyless. We have won the UEFA Super Cup and the earlier version of the Club World Cup. But apart from that, it's not been a great season. We know that. I don't think it requires someone to tell you that Real Madrid have had a terrible season. And that is the reason why Xabi Alonso and you know Trent Alexander-Arnold, Alvaro Fernandez, um, Dean Howson. That is the reason why these reinforcements are needed. These changes are needed. But like I said, we have to appreciate what um, has been achieved by some legends who have helped Real Madrid achieve it. Um, so yeah, let's start off with Carlo Ancelotti. I would say not known for being a tactician, but a very good man manager. The connections he has with his players, is important and is great. We know that. We've heard many players say that before, but we know that in football it's a lot more than just the tactics. You need that, and I think that is a side of the game that he has that maybe at this moment in time is not able to adapt and fight against the elite managers that are coaches that have tactics. Carlo Ancelotti isn't a tactical manager, but he is a great man manager. And even without having an established, tactic, he has achieved lots of success. And we have to acknowledge that. Um, it's not. It's a lot more than just the trophies that he won. I think when he first came in, during the days when it was Real Madrid, they haven't won a Champions League since 2002, and there was that sort of 10 to 11 year drought, and lots of managers came in. Managers like Jose Mourinho, and Fabio Capello, and so many managers throughout as well, ever since came in, tried to do something like winning the Champions League, couldn't quite do it, and then Carlo Ancelotti comes along and delivers that La Decima. We all remember 92-48, Sergio Ramos, incredible. That rewrote Real Madrid's history. That kick-started some incredible things. The following season, obviously, it didn't, go as planned. Barcelona then, I believe, won the treble. He was fired. He was sacked. He left. I think pretty sure he went to Bayern Munich afterwards. Um, before Napoli, if I'm not mistaken. But he was fired, and in came Zidane, and then obviously that kickstarted a whole lot of success, the three-peat, and all that. But afterwards, we all remember after Zidane, we had Lopetegui, we had Solari, and we had losses like the humiliating loss to Ajax. We had being beaten by every single possible team in Europe. I think even Club Brugge beat Real Madrid, um, if I'm not wrong. But at least certainly I think they drew us. And those were tough days. And then Zidane came back. He won the league, wasn't able to get the Champions League. I think he went to the semi-finals, lost to Chelsea, who eventually won in the 2021 season. And then he decided to call it a day again, and he left. So, and then Zidane's gone. Who is going to be the new man? Carlo Ancelotti came back. He came back, and I'm pretty sure I remember at that time people weren't expecting Real Madrid to be winning the Champions League for maybe another few seasons because Chelsea were coming through. They had Thomas Tuchel. They were probably the best team in Europe. We had Bayern Munich still competing. Hansi Flick before he went to Barcelona, of course. And obviously, we were looking at PSG with Mbappe, Neymar, Messi, that sort of project. And obviously, we know Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. There were so many teams in that period that were very, very good in Europe. That Real Madrid were no longer, arguably, the favourites to win the Champions League. But what happened? Against PSG in the round of 16, comeback. Against Chelsea in the quarterfinals, comeback. Against Manchester City in the semi-finals, comeback. And although Liverpool played like a team that should have won 5-0, they were not able to win the Champions League in that season. And he delivered again. The 14th. The following season, I remember it was a bad season. La Liga lost, Champions League lost in the semi-finals to Manchester City. We won the Copa del Rey, but it wasn't a great season again. Last season, won La Liga again, won the 15th Champions League. Once again, you look at that game against Manchester City. I thought Man City should have gone through. You look at the game against Bayern Munich. Last minute Joselu goes. Look at the final against Dortmund. Dortmund played very well, but what happened? Real Madrid won. And then this past season, obviously it hasn't been great. La Liga, we have had the lead for a period of time. We then bottled it, gave Barcelona the lead, and we weren't able to get them back. We have lost every single El Clasico this season. That is not acceptable. We were dumped out the Champions League 5-1 by Arsenal. That is not acceptable. So obviously, when you look at that sort of career he has had at Real Madrid, he has won the best club coach in the world 3 times in the 13-14 season, which I believe would be La Decima, in the 21-22 season, and in the 23-24 season. He has also won 3 Champions League with Real Madrid in those seasons. He has won the FIFA Club World Cup winner in the 14-15 and 22-23 season. He has won 2 Spanish Cups in the 21-22 and 23-24 season. He has won 3 UEFA Super Cup with Real Madrid, 14-15, 22-23, and earlier this season he has won the FIFA Intercontinental Cup last season. He has won 2 Spanish Cups in the 13-14 and the 22-23 season. He has won 2 Spanish Super Cups in the 21-22 and 23-24 season. So with that being said, I'm pretty sure he goes on as the most successful Real Madrid coach anyways. But apart from the trophies, which are outstanding, he established something which is special. And that is that connection with the players and with the fans. And I think that is very important. And that I don't think there will be anyone like him when it comes to being a man manager, whilst also being successful. But I think we have to move on. I think we have to look forward. And I'm not a Brazil fan. I don't really support many national teams. If I don't support any, but whenever I do watch the World Cup, for example, I want Portugal to win because for Ronaldo. Same with the Euros. But I do hope he achieves success with Brazil because I think that will be an incredible way to cap off and top off his career. It's like a cake with the final frosting on it, the garnishing. It would be special. And if he can achieve a World Cup, a Copa America, something in the next few years, I think he will be there only for the World Cup. But if he wins the World Cup, he's probably gonna stay. And if he stays and he achieves the Copa America 2 years later, it will be great. But most importantly, for this upcoming World Cup, I think it would be really lovely to see him win it. And I wish him all the best. I do. I really do. What about our Capitan, Luka Modric? Yeah. I mean, we have just spent quite a considerable amount of time on Carlo Ancelotti, but I think we cannot forget the players, the legends. Luka Modric, labeled a flop, labeled the worst signing when he first joined. And I still can't believe that, by the way. I've never, even when Luka Modric wasn't at Real Madrid, he was not a bad player. Okay, he might not have been the player he was and he is today, but he was never a bad player. But I mean, where do we begin? I mean, yeah, Luka Modric, man. Just in my opinion, and people are gonna say, "Oh, you're biased." People are gonna say, "Oh, Iniesta's better, Xavi is better." I do believe after Zidane, he's the best midfielder of all time. And there's so many players, right? There's so many midfielders, and it's my opinion, right? You might say I'm biased, okay, but I do have that belief and opinion that he is the second best midfielder of all time. And but you're gonna say internationally, it doesn't really matter. We're talking about a player, and the way Luka Modric plays this game is brilliant. He isn't known for being a Toni Kroos type, control the tempo of the game. He isn't a defensive midfielder. He isn't an attacking midfielder. But his game is very all round. He has everything. If you want him to make a tackle, watch what he did to Messi in the Champions League when he made the tackle. If you want him to score some bangers, watch some of his banging goals. I mean, I remember that goal for Croatia, I think against Russia, if I'm not wrong, in the World Cup, or was it Argentina? Sorry, I'm pretty sure it was Argentina actually. But yeah, that goal. And obviously, I remember that volley he scored against Girona this season. He scored a volley against Real Sociedad a couple of seasons ago. Goals, and he's put up some brilliant assists. That Trivela outside the boot assist for Rodrigo against Chelsea. This man has everything in his locker. He has. If you want him to score a worldie, he's there. You want him to make a worldie pass, he's there. If you want him to, make a tackle, yes, he's there. If you want him to keep control of the game, he's there. He is a magician on the pitch, and I think most importantly, what will be missed, as we've seen with the likes of Karim Benzema, Toni Kroos, Sergio Ramos, is the experience. Now, I think there are still leaders in the dressing room. Dani Carvajal, I think, will be now the club captain, if I'm not wrong. And then you look at players coming through. I think Thibaut Courtois is not necessarily young. He has experience. Antonio Rudiger has experience. Alaba has experience. He just needs to stay fit. I'm looking at Fede Valverde. He's not that young anymore. He has experience. So there are leaders in this room. But Luka Modric is... We can't compare the leadership. This is a player who is going to be 40 soon. In September. But he's 39. He has won everything. And he is a leader. He's a role model to the young players at the club. And I just think that I am a little bit surprised. Now, did I expect Modric to play until he's 40 at Real Madrid? If you had told me this 5 years ago, I probably wouldn't have said yes. But the fact is, I genuinely do think that the plan was Luka Modric to stay for one more season. But maybe this is his choice. And I have seen reports that Real Madrid did not offer a deal to Luka Modric. And maybe this is the club's choice. But I was really expecting Luka Modric to sign for another season. I really was. So, look, it pains me to say all good things come to an end. And Luka Modric leaving hurts as much as it was to see Toni Kroos leave, Sergio Ramos leave, Varane leave, Benzema leave. So yeah, it's very sad. Again, this is a man who has won the Ballon d'Or. He has won the best men's player for FIFA, UEFA's best player in Europe. He has won 6 Champions League trophies, which is insane. He has won 5 Club World Cup Winners' Cup. I think that's 4 La Ligas, 5 UEFA Super Cups, 1 Intercontinental Cup, 2 Spanish Cups, 5 Spanish Super Cups. And this is a player who I think has won the most trophies in Real Madrid's history, if I'm not wrong. I think that is 28 trophies that he has won at Real Madrid. It's a sad time to say goodbye. And I am looking at the midfield. I think a midfield player has to be signed. Because now that Kroos already left last season, and Luka Modric has left, I think you need a player like that. And I'm looking at maybe Angelo Stiller of Stuttgart, who could be a similar sort of player. Because Traoré is a DM, Camavinga is not a controller on the ball. Valverde is an explosive midfielder with pace, but he's a ball striking midfielder, but he's not a controller. Jude Bellingham is not a controller. He's best utilized when he's more around the box. So we need a player in the midfield that can control the tempo, the pace, the passing, just everything that happens in the middle of the park. And Luka Modric was that, but he's not going to be there anymore, and that is very sad and emotional, of course. And we have to talk about Lucas Vázquez. Now, he has become a player that's been very hated, and I think if you're a Real Madrid fan and you hate Lucas Vázquez, then you are not a Real Madrid fan. I know this season has not been good enough, and we have talked about it. He has been a liability at times in big games. When we had needed someone to step up, he has been a liability. But it's not his fault. Firstly, he is not a right back. He isn't. If you remember, he has always been a winger, a right winger. That is where he is best at. But in the 2021 season, Zidane had no choice. I think Carvajal must have been injured, and you know, I'm pretty sure during those days we had Odriozola, but he wasn't good enough. I think we had Marvel as well, but um, yeah, Lucas Vázquez was the only one who could play, and he decided to convert him to a right wing back. Not even a right back, a wing back. However, that has stuck since Zidane, and he has been a backup right back basically. He's never been playing at right wing. He has always been playing at right back, and we know that he was never a right back to begin with. So I'm not gonna blame him much. Of course, on the pitch, when you're on the pitch, you get the blame because you should be doing better, and I do agree with that to a certain extent. But I'm not gonna go full on blasting at him because he's doing a role that he can't, because he isn't specialized in it. And him getting the hate is very, very unfair. But that being said, this is a player. If you remember, Champions League final 2016, steps up to take one of the penalty in the penalty shootout, and this man is juggling the ball. He's doing kick-ups. He's spinning the ball. He's doing all sorts, and he coolly scores a penalty. The 2023-24 final, not final, quarterfinal, against Manchester City, he does the same thing again. When it matters in the big games, during the penalty shootouts, this man holds his cool and delivers. And I will remember that goal against Barcelona he scored. I think it was in El Clasico a couple of years ago. In the counter attack, Asensio's shot was saved. He was there for the rebound. There's so many moments of Lucas Vázquez. Obviously, we saw the Champions League goal earlier this season against Borussia Dortmund. He played a 1-2 with the opponent. But look, I have a lot of gratefulness for Lucas Vázquez. I'm not going to be one of those people that hate on him, because I can understand that if you're a right winger and you get played at right back, you are not going to be able to play very well, especially when you have never been a very explosive and quick player. So when he has that, typical, when you just have that in you, when you're at right back and your instinct is to play as a winger because you are a winger or you were a winger, you push high up the field and you leave space in behind, and you don't have the recovery speed to get back. As much as that is on you, because you're not quick enough, because you have pushed too high, you should not be playing that to begin with. So I blame the club for allowing Lucas Vázquez to be the backup right back. If he's the backup right winger, that is okay. The problem is not with Lucas Vázquez. The problem is relying him as a right back, knowing that he isn't a right back, and that would be a weakness of his game. So, again, I am grateful to Lucas Vázquez. I appreciate whatever he has done for the club, and I don't hate him, and we shouldn't hate him, and no one should hate him as a Real Madrid fan. Again, he has won so much: 5 Champions League, 3 FIFA Cup World Cups, 4 league titles, 4 UEFA Super Cups, 1 Intercontinental Cup, 1 Spanish Cup, and 4 Spanish Super Cup. Yeah, 23 trophies he has won at the club, and I'm not sure where he might go. There hasn't really been much rumors, but I've always had that thinking that if he goes to a Celta Vigo, a Villarreal, something like that, a team in Spain that would utilize him as a winger, I think he would thrive. But he isn't a right back, and that is a part of his game that he has been used at, but he has never been good at, and that is not his fault. We are all good at something and bad at something. It's like putting Mbappe at centre back. Are you gonna blame him? No. Are you gonna blame him if you concede goals? No, because he isn't it. So once again, thank you to Lucas Vázquez. Thank you to the 3 that we talked about. Legends, and whatever they do, wherever they go, obviously with Carlo Ancelotti, he will be taking over Brazil. But with Modrić and Vázquez that haven't been confirmed yet, haven't really heard much rumors. Whatever their journey is from now on, may that be retirement, may that be finding a new journey in Spain, in Croatia for Modrić, maybe in Saudi, maybe in the MLS, whatever that might be. I wish them all the best. And yeah, thank you for the services. But I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. I will be doing the usual end of season Real Madrid tier list for ranking each player for the season. So do stay tuned for that. I think I will do that before the Club World Cup because I kind of want the Club World Cup to be for the start of next season. Obviously with Xabi Alonso, his era. So I might do that for this season. But I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. Hit the subscribe to show us on already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.